Hey folks, what's going on? Just out patrolling some dirt today. I'm on my 2017 KTM 690 Enduro R. Haven't had this thing out in forever. I'm embarrassed to say I haven't really ridden it that much this year, but beautiful November day, December day, December 1st. And I thought I'd knock the cobwebs off, so just goofing off here a little south of the house. This is a road that's, actually don't even know the name of it, little county road that's going to come out down here around Chalk Mountain somewhere, but just a fun day to get out. Got a light jacket on, nothing too heavy. It's cool, but not bad with the sun out, so that's all good. Yeah, this little bike's pretty fun. Roadrunner. I bought it new. Also got a KTM 1290 when I got into dirt riding about 7 or 8 years ago. Or resumed dirt riding. I rode dirt a lot when I was in high school, and then kind of got out of it when I got my driver's license. Been on street bikes ever since, and I don't know, about 7 or 8 years ago I rode a buddy of mine's 500 EXC, and it was really fun. So I thought about getting something small, but here in Texas you got to drive away to find some good off-road stuff. So I ended up buying the 1290 where I could ride out west on it, which I do every now and then. But then I wanted something lighter, so I got this 690, and it's a ton of fun. But quite honestly, just with not a whole bunch of public land in Texas, I end up staying on the 1290 most of the time, because most of the riding I do is kind of like what you're seeing here, these county gravel roads, so nothing too technical. Plus I'm too old and fat to be doing motocross stuff anyway. I brake, I don't bend anymore. It takes too long to heal. But anyway, some of these things are so poorly maintained, it's kind of like driving on a motocross track anyway. The old game fence over here, a lot of hunting around this area, plus it's deer season too, so may see something before the day's over with. But yeah, anyway, just figured I'd film some of this, see what's going on. Don't really have any particular subject matter today other than just enjoying the day out riding. Yeah, I've considered selling this bike because I don't really ride it that much. Like I said, it's a 2017 and I've only got around, I think, 3,900 miles on it, something like that. I know it's less than 4,000, or it was before I left the house today. So not much, not many miles at all. But every time I ride it, it's so fun, I don't want to get rid of it. I actually considered getting a 500 when I bought this thing, but like I mentioned earlier, down here you got to ride on the pavement a little ways to find any decent gravel, and the 690 is just a little more comfortable for that than the 500. Plus the maintenance intervals are a lot longer. The 500 EXC is essentially a plated dirt bike, so I don't actually know what the interval is, but I would assume you're probably still having to change oil every 20 hours or something like that. And at least on this thing, it's it's more mileage based. I forget what the actual interval is, but it's much more than 20 hours. So that was one of the decision factors, and I think this thing is, from the factory, is rated like 67 horsepower, maybe something like that. So for a big single, that's pretty stout. I think it weighs, I think originally it was around 330, maybe 330 pounds, something like that. But I haven't really done any engine work to it, but I've armored it up. I put a Black Dog skid plate on it, put a rad guard, radiator guard, a couple of the Vinesh Motorsport things, case saver, disc brake guard. So I've added some weight to it, but I'm sure, eventually it'll pay off by saving some components. I guess the other big upgrade I did on this bike is I resprung it to fit my weight. It was grossly undersprung when I got it. So I ordered a set of springs from Slavens Racing. I forget what the spring rate was on them, but I essentially set it up. I weigh, you know, between 250 and 260 pounds, depending on what time of year it is, and plus with all my gear, helmet, etc. I carry a mini air compressor, tire patch kit, full tool roll, jump start kit. So with all that, plus my weight, you know, I'm probably around, I think I estimated it between 275 and 280. I probably got 20 pounds of gear on this thing. And then I've also got a Enduro stand luggage I carry it in. I've got a Moscow Moto Reckless 10 that I put on here if I'm going to be overnighting anywhere. So I didn't do any valve work. I just resprung it. I think I'm running, what is it, the 4-weight Motor X oil in here. I think it's the factory oil, but man, respringing this thing made a world of difference. It was really rough before. No matter how much I adjusted the rebound and compression, I was just undersprung. But with these springs in it, man, it's nice. You know, I'm not a suspension expert, so I kind of just followed Slavens Racing's suggestion. You know, they said get the right size spring preload, or excuse me, yeah, the right size spring for your weight. And then his comments, or his recommendation, was because so many people get the sag wrong when they're trying to measure it. Dang, bouncing a little bit here. He suggested just setting it to the factory preload. And I think the factory preload on this thing is like 20 millimeters or something like that. So it's only compressed about 3/4 of an inch. And I found that to be spot on. Enough so that I didn't even attempt to adjust anything after that. It was pretty much plug and play based on his recommendations. So I guess what I'm saying is if you're putting springs in your dirt bike, you may want to check out slavensracing.com and get some input from those dudes. It worked for me. But yeah, that was great. After doing the springs, man, it just totally changed the bike, made it like night and day. Trying to think if there's anything else. I hadn't really done anything else to this bike. Like I said, armored it up. I've been looking at the Rottweiler intake, wings or air exhaust and all that. I could probably lighten it up a little bit, but honestly, these KTMs come pretty stout from the factory, so might run a little cooler, but I don't know how much power I'll get. You know, KTM's motto is ready to race, and I think it's true for the most part. I kind of joke about it sometimes. But yeah, ready to race is nice, which that EXC 500 really is ready to race, but in the case of the 690, I think it's like almost ready to race, right? Because it's not quite as light. Increased maintenance intervals, but I'm okay with that. And honestly, only putting 4,000 miles on this thing in the last, what are we coming up on now, 6 years or whatever. Maintenance is really a non-issue anyway. I think I've changed the oil on it a couple of times just due to exposure, not really due to mileage or anything, obviously. But it is fun to get on this thing and putt around, though. I really like that. It's a welcome break from, you know, being on the Road Glide. Road Glide probably weighs about 1,000 pounds, and this thing, like I said, even with all the armor, is probably still under 400. So that's kind of cool. It's just a real dichotomy going from a big hog to a little dirt bike enduro, I guess. But it's still fun. Just two different animals. Dang, I thought this rain would have been, or the water would have been mostly cleared up by now. I was out of town. I was working in Atlanta last week, and Dad's told me it rained. I didn't know how much, but it was, sun was shining this morning when I got home, and it looked like it was really dry outside. But I guess it's just the low water crossings are still wet. Not a big fan of riding in the mud. Yeah, it seems like when I left last week, maybe I just didn't notice it, but now all the fall colors are kind of coming in here in Texas, at least at the house. You know, a lot of this stuff is evergreen, it doesn't change, but at the house we got a pretty good change of colors going on. Man, my front brake was pulsing right then. I've still got the anti-locks are still on this thing. You can't, actually I think you can disable them, but you have to do it at every startup, so that's kind of a pain in the ass. You would think a dirt bike, you would be able to disable it, But oh, open range, boys, open range. All right, be gentle, big mama. Don't want to get charged here by the protector. This looks like all cows here though, so that's good. There we go. All right, thanks, girls. Later. Lost my train of thought there, sorry. Maybe I'll remember here in a minute. But yeah, this is just putting around some old county roads. I think we're going to come out down here around Chalk Mountain on 67 here in a bit. I'm trying to slowly map out all these down here. I've kind of, between this and the 1290, I've hit all these gravel roads quite a bit. And a lot of times I'll just hop on the bike and take off, and sometimes I'll realize where I am, sometimes I won't. But it's still fun getting out here cutting up with very little traffic. I mean, so far it's been cows only. So I will say these, you know, some of these county roads are barely maintained. It seems like if they're surrounded by private property on both sides, then they get less attention. But if it's a more of a through road, I mean, you can look at this. This is all hard packed. I mean, it's in really good shape. So I would assume they come out and grade it and top it off with gravel from time to time. I actually found I found it on one of the dirt bike sites. I can't remember. It may have been Two Wheel Texans, but there was it was a link to a map, and it was filtered to show all the gravel roads in Texas, which is pretty cool. So I use that from time to time to stitch things together if I'm trying to do a, you know, kind of a pre-designated route. That's what I was talking about, yeah, routes. So a lot of times I just like to get lost, and, you know, whenever it's time to go home, hit home on the GPS, and that seems to work pretty good. But that gravel map was kind of cool because you could they had all the gravel roads highlighted in red, and that way you could just kind of look at it, head to that area, or, you know, plan a route from that area. Worked pretty good. You know, you get around the urban areas like Fort Worth, Dallas, Austin, all that, there's a pretty big radius before you start getting to gravel roads. But like out here in the boonies where we are, they're all over. That's one thing I like. I can leave my house and be on gravel within probably about 5 to 6 miles. When we lived in Fort Worth, it was more like, you know, 30 to 50 miles. So I kind of call it doing a hare scramble or something like that. It's fun to, you know, get on these county roads. Some of them are gravel, some of them are paved, and get a little bit of both. Oh, there go the ducks. And skillet shot over there. What's up, folks? Yeah, you can kind of see the fall colors now. Yeah, at our house, I should have took a shot of that before I left in the back, down looking over the valley there, man. It's all kind of good color. And of course, anywhere there's grass, you got your typical Texas brown sage. Never changes. Yeah, I mean, the 690 is just such a good hybrid. It's great in the dirt. A lot of people change the sprocket. I'm still running the stock gearing on mine. It is geared pretty tall, though. I don't think it would hurt to lower the gearing a little bit. I just haven't done that. I think the only complaint I've got with this bike actually is, and this is known, it's, there we go, shifting into 6th gear. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know if the dogs are different or it's just 6th gear is so much higher, but you got to really, not forcefully, but you got to be aware when you're shifting into 5th gear. If not, sometimes you get a false neutral. I think there's like a $120 fix for that. They have a, I've seen it before, I forget what they actually call it. It looks like some kind of shift pawl, P-A-W-L or something like that, with a different bearing on it. It's supposed to make it smoother. I figure if I have to break the engine open, I'll put one in for 120 bucks. I just hadn't got there yet. Plus, it doesn't happen enough to be a real nuisance. It's just happens occasionally from time to time. But that's really the only thing. I think the other, well, actually, that's really the only known issue I'm aware of. I think on the early model 690s, like pre-2016, 2015 maybe, not sure when the timeout or when the cutoff was, there were issues with, I think it was just the cam. The cam lobes were, I guess it was made out of softer metal or something like that, and they were getting chewed up. I think that's what the issue was. I remember reading about it. But those were the only two things I read about pre-purchase that were of any concern to me. But like I said, I've experienced the false neutral a few times, shifted into 6, but other than that, no problems. But I guess the disclaimer is I've only got, you know, almost 4,000 miles on this thing, so it's not like it's been abused or even had a whole bunch of mileage put on it. Yeah, I think about doing the power commander and, like I said, the exhaust and intake and all that, but quite honestly, man, it's plenty powerful. But power's kind of like money, right? Too much is almost enough, or something like that. So I don't know, maybe that'll be a project one of these days. Can add that to my perpetual list of shit to do at the house. All right. Catching up to somebody over there. That looks like sheriff's deputy, actually. Like a Hood County sheriff, but I mean, not that it matters, just saying that's what that Suburban looks like. That's what they ride in. Fixing to be on the pavement here in about a mile anyway. Man, what a beautiful day. I think it's supposed to be nice tomorrow too, and Sunday's supposed to be back up to almost 70, so probably take it easy tomorrow. Plus SEC championships tomorrow. Bama and Georgia coming on at either 2 or 3, I forget, but I'll definitely be glued to the TV for that. That ought to be a good one. I'm still trying to recover from my 5 heart attacks during the Iron Bowl last week, but luckily Alabama pulled it out on the last play. Couldn't believe it, man. That was amazing. But hopefully this game will be not decided in the final seconds, but never can tell. It's always crazy in the championship game, so looking forward to that. Yeah, so I think this is going to come out right here on 67. It'll be on the pavement. Well, I guess it wasn't the sheriff's deputy. Oh yeah, it was. Maybe that led us around here in a minute. Yep. Erath County, sorry, I said Hood. Guess I didn't know what county I was in. A little further south in Hood County. Got lights on back there. Can't really tell. Hope nobody's hurt or anything. And more importantly, the lights are not after me, so that's a plus. Alright, well, back to the old boring pavement, at least on this bike. What? Not sure what's up going on over there. Alright, well, I'm gonna tap out, catch up with you guys on some dirt here in a minute. Bye. Hey folks, I'm back. Just down here a little north of Hyco, probably over to the east. Not really sure what direction we're headed right now, but I think we're northeast of Hyco. We'll see where this comes out, but that's a pretty cool shot coming down here. You can kind of see some of the mesas, the old plateaus. Nice hard packed road here. I think this is County Road 199, Erath County 199. Nice and smooth. Yeah, I guess if it did rain here last week, it wasn't very much because this is all dry. Alright, what do we got? Nothing. Perfect. Man, what a beautiful day. I keep saying that, but it keeps remaining true. I really like the colors on the mesas up here. You can see the, well, you can't now because we're down below the trees. You will here in a minute though. Yep. Where is it? I'm gonna be looking into the sun now, but gonna be all shadows on that one, but this one down here you might be able to see. It's always just so, during summer everything is so hot, just turns brown, everything's dead except for the evergreen stuff, so it is nice seeing a change of colors. Sun's in the way. I guess being in Texas, everybody's gonna call it burnt orange anyway, right? Right. Instead of red. In Oklahoma it's red, down here it's burnt orange, I think is how that works. But anyway. Game fence. Always curious to see. A lot of times when you see a game fence, you'll catch something inside. I mean, pardon the pun. Didn't mean to sound like an idiot, but just a lot of times you can see stuff walking the perimeter. And of course, the other thing is this time of year, I'm sure there's people hunting in there. Man. Looks like the county's been out here trimming up the median. Honestly don't know why they just shear half the trees off. There's no power lines right there. It really looks like crap. They did the same thing on our road, and the trees are not the road, not my driveway, but just the road to our house. They did the same thing. It almost looks like they took a bat wing clipper and had one of the wings at 90 degrees and got too close. El Lobo Ranch. Hadn't heard of that one before. I guess I hadn't paid attention. Oh man, we got pavement coming up. That blows. But I guess we'll see where it goes. What is this? Boss County. Oh, 216, okay. I think I know where we are. I think this... I think this goes to Iredell maybe. So yeah, we're back over to the east of Hyco. But we can easily jump back over there. So at least it's got some curves. That's kind of nice. Yeah, this thing, of course, you know, KTM makes the 690 Enduro and the 690 SM, or is it SMT? I can't, or, yeah, Supermoto, which essentially is the same bike, I think, but the SMT's, you know, geared for street use. It's got street tires on it. I guess the suspension may be a little different. I'm not sure what the exact differences are, but I know they use the same engine. You could probably put a set of street tires on this and do the same thing. Suspension's probably set up maybe different, I'm not sure, but either way, where I was going with that is, man, these little light bikes are so fun on the pavement just because it doesn't take anything to turn them. And this one handles great even with ground grips on it. Can only imagine if it had you know, a full-blown set of street tires on it. I guess that's what it is. Get rid of these, you know, the 21-inch front tire and put a 17 on it. It's probably got 17s all the way around, so you can get some street-oriented rubber for it. But speaking of that, Ducati just came out with their new single, what they call it, the, I don't know, Supermono or something like that. And they just released their new, what are they calling it? Maybe Supermono's the name of the bike. I can't remember. They came out with a brand new single engine which I think is like one piston off the Panigale or something like that. It's a 4-valve hot rod engine, and it is like rated at 77 horsepower, so 10 horsepower more than this thing. And of course, knowing Ducati, you can probably buy ECU flash and a Terminology exhaust to grab another 5 to 10 horsepower out of it. Man, the thing looks wicked. I would love to have one. I just don't think it'd be a good fit out here where I live. You know, if I was closer to town, it'd probably be a lot more fun bouncing around town on that little light bike. But anyway, I really did like the look of it. It's pretty nice. All right, get down to gear here. I don't know, maybe that'll start a race war between KTM and Ducati to see who can make the most power. That would be fun. Or I guess I should say a racing war, not a race war. I guess on the KTM side, they came out with the new 1390 Super Duke last week. That looks pretty wicked. Really interested in it, but it's too close of a bike to my Monster 1200S. Quite honestly, my Monster's about 157 horsepower bike. The new KTM 1390 Super Duke is 190 horsepower. And while I'm certainly not scared of it, man, my Monster's a handful in that little small, short frame with no fairing. So probably, again, not enough difference to justify buying the Super Duke. But it does look wicked if you like the KTM look, which I do. I'm really interested in seeing if KTM's going to put that 1390 into the Super Adventure, because that would really get my attention. My Super Adventure is 2016. I think I got about 25,000 or so miles on it. Man, it's been great since day one. I hadn't really been in a hurry to update it. I want to get a lot more miles on it, but they made a huge amount of advancements on the existing 1290. Now it's got dual radiators, a bunch of different stuff to keep it cooler. And I don't know. It doesn't take much pulling on my finger to get me to go buy something new, so I'll have to keep an eye on that 1390 and see what happens when it comes out. Anyway, I'm babbling. We'll cut off. Hopefully we'll find some more dirt. Catch up with you here in a minute. All right. I'm back. We are on County Road 2410, so backtracking a little bit, I think. But we'll see where it comes out. Like I said, I'm just kind of goofing off trying to get lost anyway, so all good. Looks like a nice little spread there. I did remember one of the things I lost my train of thought on earlier when I was talking on a couple of segments ago about this 690 Enduro not having an ability to cut the anti-lock brakes off. I guess that's partially true. They make a dongle. You can buy what they call a dongle from KTM that plugs in on this thing. And it's... Oh, okay, we're back on pavement now. Okay. Yeah, I think we did backtrack a little bit. Anyway, you can buy that dongle, and it allows you to set the anti-lock brakes to, you know, whatever mode you like, and it retains that setting after you cut the power on and off. So I actually bought one for this bike, but since I was using my 1290 a lot more, it's the same dongle, same connector, so I put that on my 1290, and it's kind of been permanently installed on it, because on the 1290 I like keeping the anti-locks off and the traction control off. Well, let me correct myself. I keep the rear anti-lock brake off and I keep the front anti-lock brake on. I found for me that works better. That's probably debatable for some folks, but I like it because I can lock up the rear brake if I'm coming around a corner or trying to shave off speed on the dirt. But also I don't have to really think on the front brake. It just kind of modulates itself. I'm sure better riders than me can get shorter stopping distance without anti-lock on dirt, but I'm not that good yet. The main thing though is I hate having to cut traction control off on the KTM 1290 every time I get on it. I learned the hard way when I was in Colorado, because when you're driving up on some of those mountain passes and your traction control's on, that's a bad thing, because you know, if you're calling for power and the bike is stalling, that's not where you want to be. You can cut traction control off, but you have to scroll through the menus and then hold the button for like 30 seconds, and you can only cut it on and off when you're at a full stop. So that really got to be a pain in the ass. Every time we'd stop for pictures, I'd have to spend 10 or 15 seconds putting the bike back into non-traction control mode, which, yeah, it's a first world problem and it's not that taxing, but it is enough of a nuisance where I wanted to correct it. So I stole the module I bought for the 690 and just installed it on the 1290. I just need to go drop another 120 bucks and get another one and put on this bike. I hadn't done it yet. But that would make it a lot more user-friendly. And there's actually buttons on the dash of this thing you can toggle. I think you can cut the anti-locks. I think you might be able to cut it off. Same kind of deal with the 1290 where you have to cut it off when you power up, or cut it off when you're at a standstill. But I don't think it's got the functionality to leave the ABS on the front and off on the back. I think you got to have the module for that. I don't know. I need to research it. I mean, hell, it's 130 bucks. I need to just order it. But anyway, kind of put that off too. Yeah, according to the GPS, I'll be coming into Heiko here in the next 5 miles or so. Actually, I think down here, let's see if this is it. Maybe a little further south, but the road I just came off of, apparently I made a loop back to this road because I was on it before. I think the road I was on turns off down here to the right. Apparently it just horseshoes back up to the other side of the road, north side of the road. It is nice out here. Looks like they resurfaced this road not too long ago because it's nice and smooth, grippy asphalt. Plus the telltale sign out here that's fairly new, as you can see on the shoulder. It's nice and clean. It's not all chipped off yet from the 18-wheelers and the tractors and, you know, farm equipment going up and down the road. You got to really watch a lot of these shoulders on some of these roads like this. You can see how steep it is right there. It falls off a good 5-6 inches, but then on top of that, the heavy vehicles will just kind of eat away at it over time. It's probably why they don't put a white line on this stuff. That way nobody knows how bad it is. They're not forced to come out here and do something about it. I don't know. Yeah, here's the road I was on. This is the one I just I came off of back there. This is where I turned off. I can't remember if that thing wide or not. There may have been another way to go, or another option, but anyway, I think I'm going to stay on this one because we are almost into Heiko, or close to it anyway. Or no, you know what, maybe this is Iredell. I'm getting confused here. I haven't got my map zoomed in enough. Anyway, we're coming into some, yeah, Iredell. Okay, there it is. Yep. Yes, I think this is the road. I know where I am now because usually I'll turn here to make a big loop. Well, not here. Hang on. I'll show you in a minute. Yeah, I forgot this road turns into gravel because I've taken it on my Harley before, on my Road Glide on Project 124. And I didn't, you know, get on the gravel on that. I just turned around and came back. Most of the time when I'm riding in this area, there's no rush because I'm just goofing off anyway. But yeah, this is the road. This is 927 to Walnut Springs here on the left. I think I may have been on that previously when I was doing one of the videos on the Road Glide, but that goes over to Walnut Springs. Got Rattlesnake Ballroom over there, Rattlesnake Roadhouse. Nice little music hall / biker bar, whatever you want to call it. It's a pretty fun place. Yeah, so welcome to the metropolis of Iredell. Is it Iredell or Iredell? I don't know how the Texans pronounce it. You got the commercial or the Christmas decorations out though. Looks a little barren here downtown. There's City Hall. Jump over here to 1238. That goes down to Cranfield's Gap, but we're not going that far south, so we'll probably just cut back towards Heiko. Gonna come into Highway 6 down here in a minute. Man. Cut my blinker off. Yeah, I like this area down here. Just a little too far for me to be driving back and forth to Fort Worth, though. Probably looking at about 80 miles from down here, I would guess, or something like that. And where we are in Bluffdale is 50, and that's kind of at the upper end of my pain range for driving on a daily basis. It gets old, but we sure do enjoy having our space. And I'm only going to have to do it for another 9 or 10 years, so there's that to look forward to. All right, jump on 6 here and see what we can find. Oh, a little bit. Didn't want to come up. All right, we'll see if I can find something down here to turn. Oh, there's that missed 6th gear. Did you see that? Let's see if I can find something down here to turn north on and get off this 75 mile an hour speed limit, because that's no fun on this thing. Hey folks, I'm back. Obviously we're not on gravel. I got down to Hyco and then started heading back north, made my little circle, and man, it started getting cold. The sun's not down yet, but there's a lot of shadows, obviously, depending on where you are. Right now I'm in the shadows, and man, it gets cold when you're out of the sun. Anyway, I decided to just take a straight shot back, so when I got to Hyco, I came up 220 to FM 2481 and now headed back towards Bluffdale. So, pretty good ride today. Enjoyed getting out, enjoying the heat while it was out. Like I said, first time I've ridden this bike in a while. I just looked at the mileage a minute ago, and I did hit the 4,000 mile mark on this trip, so I just rolled 4,000 miles on this bike. Looks like I'm probably about 3 miles from home or so now, so I think I'll have right at 90 miles on this ride today. I knew I was close to 4,000, I just couldn't remember how close. Anyway, that's cool. Probably go ahead and do another oil change here pretty quick. I may wait a couple of months because it's December now, so wait till February and do it just in time for March riding season. That'll be good. Plus we're so far out, I typically order all my oil and stuff online. I don't think I got much left at the house, maybe half a quart or so. I do buy locally sometimes. If I have to go to the airport, sometimes I'll stop by KTM of North Texas or SLM Racing, same name, same company, 2 different names. Dang, bird trying to take me out. But yeah, they're a great dealership. That's where this bike came from. I've had good luck with them. I mean, obviously I do all my own maintenance, so I haven't ever had them do any maintenance for me, but they typically have a ton of KTM stuff in stock. Okay, what we got? Oh, never mind. I thought it was a fire, but it's just a diesel bro rolling coal up here. Thanks, bro. Very cool. You're huge. But yeah, anyway, so it was a great ride today. Enjoyed all that, and I got to get out more often on this thing, man. It's just too fun not to. Like I said, I don't ride it enough. I have to keep reminding myself, or I keep remembering every time I go out on it why I like it so much and why I don't want to sell it. So probably going to keep it. I don't know, maybe I'll throw an exhaust on it or something. I got plenty of projects at the house. Like I said earlier, I've got my old black Softail I need to work on. I've got a 75 shovel head project I bought 3 years ago. I got it running, but then it's not roadworthy, and I haven't really done a whole bunch to it. So plenty of projects, not enough time, which that's probably everybody's problem, right? Not enough time, not enough money, or not enough of both. But I don't know, maybe I can get off my dead ass and start working on some of this stuff at some point. But anyway, man, yeah, I mentioned earlier how the colors were changing here in our neighborhood, and you can really see it over there, man. It's pretty amazing. And of course, it was like late November, early December before these changes happened, so it stays green for a long time. And then it'll be coming back around in March, I guess. So, all good. Come down the driveway of death. I really hate this driveway. I know I've said that in previous videos, but we're just one lottery win away from having this be all concrete. Anyway. Alright. Back at Frank's Holler. Just in time for sunset now that we got our crappy fall hours with the, what is it, daylight saving time. I don't know, is it on or off? I always get that confused, but either way it sucks. Need to be like Arizona, just set it and forget it. All right, folks, well, as always, thanks for riding along. We'll see you on the next trip.